Call us to order at 7:02. Do we roll call? Am I crazy? We don't need a roll call.
It says roll call. on
Roll
here.
call, okay.
John Dorhauer.
Nate Cook.
Katie Wagner.
Darrell Thompson.
Carrie Alfano, board liaison.
Gina M. Racanelli, staff liaison.
Do we have any public comments on agenda items? Okay, public,
Is there a roll, or a sheet, a synopsis?
I'll get that.
I got it. For tonight, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
do you have it on your computer?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, no, any public comments on non-agenda items? Okay.
Surprise.
Any amendments to the agenda? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from September 24th?
A motion to approve the minutes.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And that passes. Okay, so one of the things for unfinished business, the first item is recommendation for the cost for the field maintenance for Villa Park Youth Baseball. Last month, Villa Park Youth Baseball President Rocco Caifano came and spoke about the need for, or talking about the need for the recommendation to resurface the fields, which we did the recommendation and it passed with the board. Now, I would like us to discuss a recommendation for how much they should pay for the field maintenance. Gina, would you like to speak to how much the village pays for the cost for dragging and the garbage for the fields that are village-owned?
So, Brian keeps track of when his team goes out there and works on the fields. I have a total for last year, which was $9,857.
Perfect.
But like this year, he is still keeping track. We'll, run into, I think maybe fall is over now.
Fall ball should be done,
Yes.
should be about done.
So I probably could give another report for 2025
Okay.
at the next meeting.
Okay. That would be, I think for now, I think what we would want to discuss, so last year, Villa Park Youth Baseball has paid $9,000, which is pretty comparable to what the village paid for maintaining those fields. They are asking for a discount considering how much they're going to be spending in, putting in work into the fields, considerable work into the fields, and to adding a second field at Franklin and a fence as well. Does anyone have any, what's everybody's thoughts about how much that their recommendations are for VPYB to pay?
To clarify, are the fields where they're adding in lights and adding improvements, are those village-owned fields or the school district?
They are village-owned.
Okay.
Both village. And then one resurface of a village at High Ridge, a resurface at Franklin, and then hopefully building another field at Franklin
With the fence.
with a fence.
May I just add
Yeah.
one thing? One of the things that we talked about is with youth baseball, putting their own funds into work on village fields. If what they're putting in is more than what it's costing the village is not going to bill youth baseball for that amount of money. Does that make sense?
Can you say that one more time?
So youth baseball is going to be doing some fundraising and has money to put into the fields. If what they're putting in is more than what the village is spending to drag the
and-
fields and the garbage, the village is not going to ask youth baseball for any money,
Okay,
if that makes sense.
yeah. Okay, so you're saying, what's your recommendation for?
I'm saying that when I sat down and talked with Tim and with Brian, that if it's costing the village $10,000 to do that work, and youth baseball is spending $11,000 on what they're doing, the village isn't going to ask for any of their $10,000 because youth baseball is putting $11,000 into the fields
Okay, okay,
that are owned by the village.
perfect.
Did you know if there was any work done last year on the fields? Do we know?
They were Jefferson Fields.
Okay,
Or,
so
so
no-
let me say that, let me double check, I'm reading my notes real fast.
Fields 1 and 3 were resurfaced at
Correct, and
Jefferson.
those are D45 schools.
Those are D45. Did they resurface High Ridge?
No, he wants
don't
to
think they do.
resurface High Ridge, he said.
Has recently donated funds to resurface High Ridge this year. Oh, this year, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, this is what they've done this year. They resurface High Ridge, which is village-owned, and then D45 Jefferson Fields 1 and 3. That's a total of $28,215. So if you split that between the 3 fields, so because not all of that 28,000 is for village fields, it's about 9,000 each roughly. What are the thoughts on what we recommend that the village, or what VPRC
Has
thinks?
Villa Park Baseball been billed then for 2025 or no?
No.
Okay, so if they came to you and said, we put $9,000 into resurfacing High Ridge, then the village would come back and say, well, then we're all even, because you owe us $9,000?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So if next year their plan is to put in $40,000, right, you would come back and say you don't owe us anything?
Correct.
Okay. I don't know that that's not what he was looking for, so.
So, I am on the Villa Park Youth Baseball Board, so I'm gonna recuse myself from making recommendations about this. Like, I'll present the recommendation to the board, but, I'm not gonna make the motion to, I'm not gonna make the recommendation or the motion to do that. So if anyone has a recommendation, or is there any other comments any other, comments about this?
No, my question was, have they prepaid it or were they gonna pay it on the end? Because they will have already spent their money. So we won't have to really debate on how much they spent because it's already done.
Correct.
So, the right hand versus the left, the scales will already be there and we'll know. So there may not be a need for a deduction or reduction on what they pay because they've already paid it up front.
Right, which they have not. They
What you
paid.
just said.
They haven't,
They
we
haven't
haven't
paid.
billed them because.
No, that's
we're-
what I'm saying.
We're just
2025.
tracking it.
Right.
Previously, there was a flat fee involved, and half was due at one point, and the other half was due after the season was over. But now that we're splitting up lining the fields and things like that, we just track it, the village tracks it.
Right.
And then when the season's over, the plan is to sit down with youth baseball and go over those numbers and their numbers and settle after the season's over.
Right.
And, go ahead, yes, trustee Alfano.
I'm wondering, if we can explain if this is also a part of the IGA, or if that is still in effect, or if this is outside of the IGA?
So, and I wasn't at your previous meeting, so I'm going to speak
We didn't talk about
about,
the
in
IGA.
terms of what I understand. The
Yeah.
IGA is intergovernmental agreement, so that would be between the village and District 45 and the village and District 88. We don't have an IGA with youth baseball. What we typically have had is a contract with
Okay.
them. So I can't speak to the IGA with District 45 because I'm not sure exactly where they're at with that.
Okay.
But
We
in
don't have a
term-
contract that this falls under?
I don't think we
They're
have,
getting ready to do a new IGA between the school district and the village.
Okay,
But it's only just those two entities, though.
okay. And this doesn't fall in any contract that we currently have?
with youth baseball?
Yeah.
I do not believe it does.
Okay.
Because I had to ask when I was looking for this information after Katie and I met.
Yeah.
And we we had our director retire, and then Tim came on board, and so Tim and Brian and I have been meeting on this.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other discussion?
No.
Would someone like to make a motion?
So, do we need to make a motion or recommendation, since it was just stated that the village has agreed that if Phillip Park Baseball puts in,
Well, I
Or
think
we-
I think the board has to be the one to say, they have to have the final say on if they're going to or not. So we're gonna make, the commission will make the recommendation that, whatever we decide right now, we'll make the recommendation, the board will discuss, and then they'll vote on it.
sure, so I'll make the recommendation that if Phillip Park Baseball puts in over $9,000, right, into the fields, then the village will not charge them. Is that what we,
As long as the village isn't spending more than 9,000 on their end.
And maybe we just say,
That's
it's
what I
just
could-
for 2025. Like, we're just gonna say it's for this year, and then we can reassess for next year. Does that
That's
sound good?
great.
correct, okay.
And those numbers sometimes will change because of weather.
Yeah.
So if we get a lot of rain,
Yep.
there's a little bit more work that has to be done.
So to clarify, right, if Phillip Park Baseball spends $8,500 and you put in $10,000 worth of work, it would be $1,500.
It might be.
Right.
They also could waive it as well.
Correct.
I can't say that for certain.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be $9,000.
Correct.
Right, which
Yes.
is what, okay. Yeah, I think that's a great recommendation.
Can you state that again?
Yeah, so I'd like to make a recommendation that would say that Phillip Park Baseball puts in whatever money they put in. If it's not more than the village would spend, they would be waived. If it's more, then they would cover that cost
Okay, so for this year, how much are we
for
recommending?
2025.
Okay. Is there a second?
So for, yeah.
I'll second.
Okay. We'll do a vote, and then I'm gonna recuse myself.
Yes.
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 Okay. So, we'll make a recommendation to the board to have, for 2025, Villa Park Youth Baseball, have their fee waived because they put in over $9,000 worth of work into village fields. Thank you, and thank you, Gina, for getting that information. That was super helpful. The next topic is discussion of a 10-year plan for Jefferson Pool, including a digital scanning for pool passes. They're I'll kind of open by saying they're kind of together. I put them together because they're both pool related, but they're kind of a little bit independent of each other. I think, John, you had talked about the digital pool pass. And so can you, wanted a little bit more clarification about like using it for next year?
Yes, I'd reached out to a couple other townships and park districts that have pools to ask if they had used a digitized system or a physical scan device like what we currently use. And the districts that do have a digitized system have it set up through the registration app that they use for their entire park. So my question was, is that something that is, first of all, possible with the system that we use, and does it make sense budget-wise to add that as an option for passes for the pool?
And we use Civic Rec
Yes.
for our registration system. Does it have the capability to do digital pool passes?
I don't know.
Okay,
Sometimes when things like this come up, we can put a ticket in and ask them.
okay.
But when I saw digital, I was thinking, oh, we do scan the passes. It's not like, we have to count them. But you want people to be able to have it like on their phone,
Exactly.
like how I pay for my Starbucks. So-
Okay, so then my thought, here's another thought, is like, okay, so I have the Villa Park app. And if I open it up, like, there's different parts on there. Can we put the pass, like, on there? Would that be something that you're thinking about too? So that wouldn't be like through the recreation system. That wouldn't be through, so like if I'm opening up the app, is that a possibility that we could have on here?
Like in your
a-
family,
Like in a chunk down here for like one of the options to say
Okay.
pool pass, because this is done by GovGo. And I don't know how well the two systems mirror each other, or if it's possible to add, you know, if someone can, if that, I haven't done a rec app like this before, so I don't know how easy it is to include, but do we need to ask like maybe someone in the village at how the app works, and if it's something
Yeah.
that might be able to be done, because that could be a way to, you know, maybe not have to use our registration system for it, but,
Yeah, I think especially if it's something that's already up and running and the
Yeah.
people are using, that's an optimal situation for it.
okay. So see, let's see if we can get, like, if there's a part of the app where we could put the pool passes on there, so people could download the app and use that for, their passes.
I can look into that and
Okay,
report back.
awesome. Thank
Perfect.
you so much, Gina.
Sure.
I'm still not sure if I'm sold on that. Well, and my reasoning for this is, we're dealing with this scanning in of the apps at school already, digitizing and putting them on the cell phone. I'm just thinking about people with cell phones at the pool. Where are they gonna put them with those, around all of this water and things of that nature? Plus now, if the cell phone goes down and they don't have the little card, how are they gonna get in? Are we gonna have to manually go in then and look them up and put in everything?
Well, to clarify, I don't think this system would replace the current system. It would just be
An
in
option.
addition
I know,
to
but
it.
I see it every day at school when, I don't have my cell phone ready, because they don't carry the other, they carry one or the other. Very rarely do they carry both.
But I think now, if you don't have a pool pass at the pool, you just tell them your name, right? And then they check it on the computer? I assume
Yeah,
that's
we
kind of,
we
or
can check
ID.
it. We can check it, but that can only happen a couple times, and then we want them to have it replaced.
Right.
I just think it's far more likely of a scenario where somebody loses that little piece of plastic than they lose their phone or lose access to their phone.
Bring your phone to the pool?
No, I didn't. No, I did not left it in the car.
No, fair enough. Fair enough.
I still have the piece of plastic.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, here's my thought about the 10-year plan for Jefferson Pool. I was given a nice printout of the feasibility study that was done in May of 2019 of the recreation center and the pool. And I was looking through it, and there's a lot in here. And I want to note that they did a lot of work for this, and it included a lot of focus groups. And I also want to say that the people who put this all together and did this work, the people who came before us and sat here, I really appreciate the work that they did, because they've done a lot to get us to where we are now. And it's kind of fitting, sitting in the current rec center, as I'm going to be reading some of these things. So one of the things that they did, these focus groups where they asked residents, what are your thoughts and feelings about, what are the most pressing indoor recreation issues that need to be addressed? We don't have modern equipment. We need a recreation center versus a pool. And this, let me remind you, this was 2019. The location of Lion Parks would be great. There's a lack of gyms for basketball and volleyball. We need to put money into one facility instead of two sites. We need bigger rooms to hold workout classes and meetings. They'd rather see an indoor community center with more gyms. And we need to have a gym center with at least a couple of courts and a walking track and have group fitness classes. And so I just kind of, it felt a little full circle that we're sitting in the current rec center where all of these things did happen. And these things were discussed, and I appreciate, you know, the people who did this work and the residents who did these focus groups. So I kind of just wanted to say that. This is done over 6 years ago, yes, almost 6 years ago. And so there's another bit of information. There's a facility evaluation that was done in 2013. I don't think that's, and it included Lufkin Pool and Jefferson. And these are online, but I don't feel like this is like this would be relevant information anymore, especially with Jefferson, because things have changed so much, being over 10 years old. What I would like us to do, as a group, over the next month, before our next meeting, is I would like everybody to go through the feasibility study and to go through and read, and I, kind of see, there's tons of information here, and it gives a lot of information about, like, comparisons to other villages and other communities, what they charge, what they offer, and I think there's a lot of really good information. I'd like us to go through it and come back to the next meeting with notes. And I think we kind of need to decide what are the next steps. Is this feasibility study still valid for what we need now? Because I think a lot of this feasibility study kind of helps spearhead this rec center that we're sitting in. Can we still use this? There is information about pools, because it's an outdoor pool study as well. Can we still use that information to make an informed recommendation for the village about Jefferson Pool? Because I think that's something that I would like to see us do soon, but it's a big project and it's kind of hard to say, what do we even recommend? What are we going to even recommend to the village, to the village trustees and to the board? So that's something that I would like us to do. Does anybody, so I'm sorry, I just
No. What-
spoke a whole bunch,
What
but
is the exact title of that feasibility study, so?
it is the Recreation Center and Outdoor Pool Feasibility Study.
Is that
Anyone?
available digitally?
Yes, it is online. If anyone's, I'm sure everyone's gonna watch this online, but here's what it looks like for all of our followers. But I would like everyone to take some time to go through it. It's tons of information. And I think it'll be really helpful for us to go through to make an informed decision about what exactly, do we need to start over and do another feasibility study? But they're really expensive. Can we use what we have now to make a recommendation on next steps going forward? So,
Do we have an idea of how long it takes to complete a feasibility survey such as that?
it's a considerable amount of
It's a
time.
long time.
Like multiple years to conduct it?
Weeks, months.
No,
but-
it probably almost, I mean, to do it properly and to have the meetings with the public and, I mean, it's probably a good, 6 months would be fast.
Yeah.
I would say 9 to 12 months to do it.
When was this one,
Correctly.
2018?
2019.
Do you remember that, doing this one?
Yes, I do.
Yeah? Nice. Good job, though. I mean, listen,
There's a lot of good info in here, and I think that's what helped get us here.
I really like listening to you read the things that were recommended, and in my brain, I was checking them off.
like we did it, we did it, we did it.
did.
yeah.
Which
We
is,
did it.
which is really awesome.
I think it's easy to kind of sit and think, oh, we didn't get this, we didn't get that, or be negative, but I think it's good to point out, all the good things that have been done over the years,
With
especially
reg-
even during COVID.
With
So-
regard to Jefferson Pool, and I'm sorry, I'm not following Robert's Rules of Order, I apologize.
Fine, I know, we're fine.
But, I could take that back with me and meet with Brian and with Tim and go through that and mark off the things that we have done, which would give you an idea. Now, I'm talking about the one that, yes.
The facilities,
The
the
facility.
facility evaluation. Well, and I'm wondering too, maybe we should do, I'm sorry, go ahead, trustee Alfano.
There is a Lufkin Pool update from January of 2018 that was presented to the board on February 26th of 2018 on the website as well.
Is there anywhere that we can you say that one more time? What's it called?
It's Lufkin Pool status dated 2/26/2018. I will send it to you.
But if that's Lufkin Pool, does it have Jefferson in it as well?
It might.
Okay. So we'll look in there. But yes, part of me wonders, is a facility evaluation, I want to look at this pool status one, but, should we recommend a facility evaluation that might be a little bit more conducive to what might need to be done with Jefferson as opposed to, do we need a full feasibility study? Yes, ma'am.
Going back to the Lufkin Pool, I would like if you would consider having this information there as well, because I hear we don't want what happened to Lufkin to happen to Jefferson. And I really think that if you take a look at, there are pictures, it tells you what's happened, and there is a little bit of some comparison here, but I do think if you look at this side by side, you would see kind of the history of where we've been when we've had two pools.
So making sure, so I think, so some homework. Oops, sorry.
I mean, no, you're fine.
Okay. So we want to look through the Lufkin pool status of 2018, the feasibility study, and that happened in May in 2019, and then kind of decide where we need to go from there to kind of see what's the recommendation that we want to make to the board. In the conversations that I've had with Gina about the pool, you know, we talked about possibly, I think when I first started, I was thinking with this, like, oh, it's a 10-year plan. We might not have, 10 years to come up with a plan. So I think we really need to make sure that we're getting started now and having a solution in hand before something does happen, like Trustee Alfano said, where we're getting to the point where we might not have an option. Oh, and can, I know
Pardon me.
sorry, just make sure you're okay. While we're talking about the pool, there were questions that were asked about how much we spend for the upkeep of the pool.
I have that.
Jane, if you have those numbers.
The current pool system, we spend approximately between $55,000 and $61,000 for upkeep
Per year.
per year, Jefferson Pool. I also would just like to mention, just to point this out, that Jefferson Pool was built as a municipal pool. Lufkin Pool was a homeowners association pool, so it wasn't, it was not built the same way Jefferson was built. Now, I'm not saying they took shortcuts and what have you, but
It's
it
just-
got more wear and tear when it became part of the village's pool. So that pool needed a liner, I want to say in the 90s, mid to late 90s. And it's a few years older than Jefferson, and now we just put a liner in Jefferson this year. It's a 10-year warranty on the liner, so you think 10 years because it's a 10-year warranty, but that covers the
Just the
shell of the
liner.
pool.
Yeah.
It's not gonna make the plumbing, last longer or what have you.
Mechanics, the plumbing, there's so much more to it than just the,
Yes. But the pools are definitely built differently.
oh, yeah. I think
And-
that's a good point.
Lufkin, there was a lot of movement in that park
Yeah.
because of what the type of dirt that was there, what was around it. If you went into the filter room, I mean, it was, that we had to do things every year to try to make it as safe as possible for people to walk around the pit in there, and it definitely, had sunk somewhat. So that makes a difference,
It does.
the type of ground it's on.
I think the idea of a pool serving, 20 families as opposed to hundreds of families is definitely going to make a huge difference about the wear and tear. I think that's a good point to make. The other question that I know that was raised was from the cannabis tax, 1% of it's supposed to go to the pool. Am I saying that right?
Well, I
Am I
think
saying it correctly?
I think, so the village receives a 3% tax. A third of that 3% tax goes to Parks and Recreation for, I believe it's stated for use in the rec center or use in a future pool.
Got it.
I
Okay.
believe that, but I'm just, I don't want to state it for certain.
Trustee Alfano?
So my understanding after speaking with Director Micah, with the budget, is that 1% does go to Parks Rec Pool, but that's 1% Parks Rec Pool. So, she had interpreted that as 0.33% for the pool.
Well, 0.33%?
That's,
Of that, well, a third of the 1%.
Correct.
Okay, so 1% goes to Parks and Rec, just in general.
Yeah, for
And-
recreation, and then a third
A third
of
of
that
that
1% would go to the pool.
Okay, I got that. So I was looking at a number and it was, Gina, did you say it was like 65,000? Is that the 1% or is that the 1/3 of the percent?
It's the 1/3. It was 68,000 last year in 2024.
So the 68,000 is the 1/3 of the 1%.
No. Let me
That's the
rephrase.
1%.
That's the 1/3 of the 3%.
Yeah, that's the
So,
1%.
Yeah,
So 68,000 is the 1% that Parks and Recs, just, kind of as a whole gets from the cannabis tax.
should have a pool line as well, don't we? Or is that just
I-
expenses?
Right.
That might just be expenses.
Based on what you have just stated, that's new to me.
So everything is a little different right now with the budget because we have different budget numbers and different budget accounts. Because we're going to BS&A and that is starting to look a little different. And we're trying to kind of align the old budget accounts with the new budget accounts and trying to figure that out. We also, you may have heard, we have called for a forensic, for an audit, just to kind of figure out where everything is in which accounts, since we're moving all of those things around, so.
Okay, so it could be a little bit different, but I think that 68,000 is kind of good to think about for now. Okay, that's good to know, because I knew 1%, but I didn't know the 1/3 of that went to the parks. Does anyone else have any other thoughts on Jefferson Pool?
Well, let's do some homework and
Yep, so we have homework. So we're gonna look at the feasibility study from 2019 and the Lufkin Pool status from 2018. And then see what kind of recommendation we can go forward for the next meeting in November.
Would you like me to go take that report from the facility, the report done in 2013 and